Today we're going to work on the 3-layer window card, and I'm also going to show you how to reposition items from one mat to another mat. Now we're working with this the window card here, and these two pieces are the same size here at the top of the screen. They are 4 inches high, 7 1/2 inches wide. This littler piece is 6 inches wide, 4 inches tall. And the white pieces are your base. The 3 different colored mats are for the 3 colors you will need to create the effect. These 2 pieces that are shown here in red are the layers to go on the ends of the card, and then you do have an envelope that will work with this card. Now, one thing I do want to also point out, when you resize any cards set up like this, you want to either select all or just manually select everything on your screen, group it, and then resize it so that everything stays in proportion, including your envelope. So we know this is 4 inches by 7 1/2. This one is 6 by 4. And there's a reason I'm pointing out those measurements to you. We're going to click on Make It. And it's going to sort them and place them on mats. Now in this case, it shows 2 mats of white. Here we have this one with a lot of space. And we have another one that obviously there's a lot of space on that as well. Why it is doing this is because of the positioning and the size of these pieces. So this piece, remember we talked about, was 4 inches tall, 7 1/2 inches wide. This one is 6 inches wide and 4 inches tall. So if I take this piece and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, and then I'm going to go ahead and slip it right up in there. It works. Actually, when I did it on the screen, it did not look like it, but it will. The reason being, again, we have 7 1/2 inches, and then we have 4 inches, which is 11 1/2, which is exactly the size that our mat will cut. So now I'm going to go to mat 2. I'm going to click on that shape. There's 3 little dots in the upper left-hand corner. Click there and click Move to another mat. I'm going to select that first mat. Click Confirm. It always places the item you're moving in the upper left-hand corner. So I'm going to grab that corner and I'm going to pull it down. And I am going to go ahead and just place that there. If when you're working with designs such as this that you know should work, but you're not confident enough with the placement, I suggest going back and then inserting a shape, a square, resizing that square to 11 1/2 inches. Then taking your pieces and placing them on top of that square. So I'm going to move my dark square, arrange it, and move it to the back. And I'm going to just rearrange a couple of things so that you can see this. There we go. So what I need to place on this dark gray mat is the 3 white pieces. So I'm going to take and select the 2 that I have on here, and I'm going to hit Arrange. I don't want to arrange. I want to align, and I'm going to align them to the left-hand side. And then I'm going to click off it. I'm going to click the top one. I'm going to hit Shift, select the gray again, and I'm going to align that to the top. Now I'm going to take the other piece and I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees, and I'm going to place it roughly. You don't really even have to place it. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to click Shift, hit the gray, and again align, and I'm going to align it to the right, and then I'm going to align it to the top. And in this instance, you can actually see there is that tiny little gap in there. So now we can go ahead and click on the gray and remove it. And then you can click these three pieces. Click down here, attach. Remember, group only holds things together on the canvas. Attach holds them together even when you go to the mats. So now if I click Make It, it has gone ahead and placed them all on the one mat as I did manually. So either way works perfectly, and now I am ready to go ahead and continue and turn on my Cricut and cut out my design. So I will go ahead and get this cut out, and I'll come back and show you how to assemble. Now I have everything cut and assembled, ready to assemble the card. I did go ahead and cut out a sentiment for inside of the card. I also embossed the little end pieces here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The back layer of the card is the solid piece, doesn't have a circle cut out. And we're going to fold those score lines up. Because this is white cardstock, it really doesn't matter, but if you're working with a different cardstock, that's going to be kind of important. So we're going to fold those score lines up. Then our center layer is the smaller of the two pieces with the hole. That one we're going to fold the score lines down. And then lastly is our top layer. And again, that one we're also going to fold the score layers down. So that gets all of the folding done. The next step we're going to do is go ahead and adhere all of our layers to our base, and we just want to make sure that we have the right size holes, because the hole in the center layer is smaller than the hole in the top layer, as you can see here. So we want to make sure we have those all in the right order, and then go ahead and glue those down with your glue of choice. And rather than make you watch me glue, I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, now I have all of my pieces glued together. The next thing I want to do is add the sentiment to this back piece. So I'm going to take the middle layer, which is the smaller of the two, and I'm going to place that over the back layer so that it is lined up, the score lines line up. And then I'm going to take my sentiment. Now I did use the my Xyron to put adhesive on the back of this guy. So I'm going to carefully pull him off from the wax paper. And I'm going to use these to go ahead and center this inside of that window, right where I want it. And I'm just going to tap that down. One of the things that I do, if you've ever used a Xyron, it seems that you get a lot of the adhesive left around the outside edges. And what I do is I actually take, and I think I have lost the dot to my eye, I take my Spellbinders tool and I rub it over it after I go around the outside edge of, like on this one, each letter. Then I rub this over it to make sure that I get in all of those little cracks and crevices, and that way I don't get as much of that excess adhesive still adhering to my die cut. So now we have that in place. We're going to go ahead and assemble this, and it is very, very easy. So I'm going to use my tape gun, and I'm going to run some adhesive down the 2 tabs on the second layer. And then I'm going to position this so that the cut edge lines up with the fold and the cut edges, and place that there. And then again on the same thing, we're just going to line up the edges, set it inside the fold, and adhere it there. And I'm going to fold it back and forth just to make sure it's nice and well adhered. And then the last piece is going to be just gluing this piece on. So real quick, I'm going to take that and I'm going to I'll put a couple rows on these because they're wider. On these tabs. And again, same process. We're just going to line these up so that they fit nicely over the base layer. I'm going to fold it back the other way, do the same thing here, and there it is. That is all there is to assembling it. It actually looks a whole lot more difficult than it is once you have it together. So then to place it in the envelope, you're just going to kind of lay it flat either way. I have the envelope. One of the things I do, I have a lot of paper that I might not necessarily use when I buy the paper stacks. So I have a lot that I wouldn't maybe use for card making or scrapbooking. And like in this case, it makes a great envelope because the inside of the envelope will be pretty when the recipient opens it. So I have gone ahead and cut it and scored it, and now I'm going to fold it so that the pretty paper is on the inside of my envelope. And then I'm going to go ahead and assemble the envelope, and when they open it, it is like a lined envelope. And then as you can see, the card will slide perfectly inside of this envelope and be ready for addressing and mailing. If you use your Cricut to address the envelope, then what you're going to do is put the pretty side against the mat, and that way you'll be writing on the outside of your envelope. I hope that helps, and I hope you really enjoy this card. It's such a fun card, and you can get, out of the pattern paper, you can get 9 cards out of a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. So it is a very cost-effective card to do as well.